Hi, so happy you could join us today. We are reading from the Complete Jewish Bible, which is a Jewish translation of a Hebrew translation of the Bible. And we are on from Sundays through Fridays because our Saturdays we celebrate Shabbat. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 through 9. Hear Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one, and you are to love Adonai your God with all your heart, all your being, and all your resources. These words which I am ordering you today are to be on your heart, and you are to teach them carefully to your children. You are to talk about them when you sit at home, when you are traveling on the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them on your hand as a sign, put them at the front of a headband around your forehead, and write them on the doorframes of your house and on your gates. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 14. Our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us the food we need. Forgive us our trespasses as we too have forgiven those who have wronged us. And do not lead us into hard testing, but keep us safe from the evil one. For kingship, power, and glory are yours forever. Amen. Genesis chapter 4. The man had sexual relations with Hava, his wife, that's Eve. And she conceived, gave birth to Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from Adonai. In addition, the gave birth to his brother Abel. Abel kept sheep while Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to Adonai from the produce of the soil, and Abel too brought from the firstborns of his sheep, including their fat. Adonai accepted Abel and his offering, but did not accept Cain and his offering. Cain was very angry, and his face fell. Adonai said to Cain, why are you angry? Why so downcast? If you're doing what is good, shouldn't you hold your head high? And if you don't do what is good, sin is crouching at the door. It wants you, but you can rule over it. Cain had words with Abel, his brother. Then one time when they were in the field, Cain turned on Abel, his brother, and killed him. Adonai said to Cain, where is Abel, your brother? And he replied, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's guardian? He said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood at your hands. When you farm the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a fugitive wandering the earth. Cain said to Adonai, my punishment is greater than I can bear. You are banning me today from the land and from your presence. I will be a fugitive wandering the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. Adonai answered him, therefore whoever kills Cain will receive vengeance sevenfold. And Adonai put a sign on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. So Cain left the presence of Adonai and lived in the land of Nod, wandering east of Eden. Cain had sexual relations with his wife. She conceived and gave birth to Enoch. Cain built a city and named the city after his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad. Irad fathered Metuel. Metuel fathered Matushael, and Matushael fathered Lamech. Lamech took himself 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and while the name of the other was Silah. Ada gave birth to Javal, and he was the ancestor of those who live in tents and have cattle. His brother's name was Juval, and he was the ancestor of all who play lyre and flute. Silah gave birth to Tuval, Cain, who forged all kinds of tools from brass and iron. The sister of Tuval, Cain, was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, listen to me. Wives of Lamech, hear what I say. I killed a man for wounding me. I killed a man for wounding me, a young man who injured me. If Cain will be avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. Adam again had sexual relations with his wife and gave birth to a son whom she named Seth. For God had granted me another seed in place of Abel, since Cain killed him. To Shed too was born a son whom he called Enoch. That is when people began to call on the name of Adonai. Going to Joshua now, chapter 4. After the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, Adonai said to Joshua, Take for yourselves from the people 12 men, a man from every tribe, and give them this order. Take 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan riverbed where the Kohanim are standing. Carry them over with you and set them down in the place where you will camp tonight. Joshua called the 12 men whom he had chosen from the people of Israel, a man from every tribe, and said to them, Go on ahead of the ark of Adonai your God into the riverbed of the Jordan. Then each of you take a stone on his shoulder, corresponding to the number of tribes of the people of Israel. This will be a sign for you. In the future, when your children are asked, What do you mean by those stones? You will answer them, It's because the water in the Jordan was cut off before the ark for the covenant of Adonai when it crossed the Jordan. The water in the Jordan was cut off, and these stones are to be a reminder for the people of Israel forever. The people of Israel did just as Joshua had ordered. They took 12 stones out of the Jordan riverbed, as Adonai had said to Joshua, corresponding to the number of tribes of the people of Israel, carried them over with them to the place where they were camping, and set them down there. Joshua also set up 12 stones in the Jordan River itself, in the place where the feet of the Kohanim carrying the ark for the covenant had stood. They are there to this day. The Kohanim carrying the ark stood at the Jordan riverbed until Joshua had finished saying to the people everything that Adonai had ordered him to say, in keeping with everything that Moshe had ordered Joshua. Then the people hurried across. When all the people had finished crossing, the ark of Adonai had passed on, and the Kohanim ahead of the people. The descendants of Reuben, the descendants of Gad, and Kohan, and the half-tribe of Manasseh went on, armed ahead of the people of Israel, as Moshe had said to them. Some 40,000 armed soldiers ready for battle crossed in the presence of Adonai to the plains of Jericho. That day Adonai made Joshua great in full view of all Israel. They were in awe of him, just as they had been in awe of Moshe all his life. Adonai said to Joshua, Order the Kohanim carrying the ark for the testimony to come out of the Jordan. So Joshua ordered the Kohanim come up out of the Jordan. The Kohanim carrying the ark for the covenant of Adonai came up from the Jordan riverbed, and as soon as the soles of their feet of the Kohanim touched dry ground, the water of the Jordan returned to its place, and the river overflowed its banks as it had before. The people came up out of the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month and camped at Gilgal by the eastern boundary of Jericho. These 12 stones which they took out of the Jordan, Joshua piled up at Gilgal. Then he said to the people of Israel, In the future, when your children ask their fathers what these stones mean, you are to explain it to them by saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. For Adonai, your God, dried up the water in the Jordan from in front of you until you had crossed, just as Adonai, your God, did to the sea of the Suf, which he dried up from in front of us until we had crossed. From this, all the peoples of the earth can know that the hand of Adonai is strong, and you can fear Adonai your God forever. Now if we can turn to Psalms chapter 4, please. For the leader with stringed instruments, a psalm of David. O God, my vindicator, answer me when I call. When I was distressed, you set me free. Now have mercy on me and hear my prayer. Men of rank, how long will you shame my honor? Love what is vain, chase after lies. Understand that Adonai sets apart the godly person for himself. Adonai will hear when I call to him. You can be angry, but do not sin. Think about this as you lie in bed and calm down. Offer sacrifices rightly and put your trust in Adonai. Many ask, who can show us some good? Adonai, lift the light of your face over us. You have filled my heart with more joy than all their grain and new wine. I will lie down and sleep in peace, for Adonai, you alone make me live securely. Matthew chapter 4. Then the Spirit led Jeshua, that's Jesus, up into the wilderness to be tempted by the adversary. After Jeshua had fasted 40 days and nights, he was hungry. The tempter came and said to him, If you are the Son of God, what are these stones to become bread? But he answered, The Tanakh says, Man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of Adonai. Then the adversary took him to the holy city and set him on the highest point of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, jump. For the Tanakh says, he will order his angels to be responsible for you. They will support you with their hands so that you will not hurt your feet on the stones. Jeshua replied to him, but it also says, do not put Adonai your God to the test. Once more, the adversary took him up to the summit of a very high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in all their glory, and said to him, all this I will give you if you will bow down and worship me. Away with you, Satan, Jeshua told him, for the Tanakh says, worship Adonai your God and serve only him. Then the adversary let him alone, and angels came and took care of him. When Jeshua heard that Johanan had been put in prison, he returned to the Galilee. But he left Nazareth and came to live in Capernaum, a lakeshore town near the boundary between Zebulun and Naphtali. This happened in order to fulfill what Isaiah the prophet said, land of Zebulun, and land of Naphtali, toward the lake beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. The people living in darkness have seen a great light. Upon those living in the region in the shadow of death, light has dawned. From that time, Jeshua began proclaiming, turn from your sins to God, for the kingdom of heaven is near. As Jeshua walked by Lake Kinneret, he saw two brothers who were fishermen, Shimon, known as Kepha, and his brother Andrew, throwing their net into the lake. Jeshua said to them, come after me, and I will make you fishers for men. At once they left their nets and went with them. Going on from there, he saw two other brothers, Jacob ben Zabdi and Jochanim, John, his brother, in the boat with their father Zabdi, repairing their nets, and he calling them. At once they left and he called them, and Jeshua called them. At once they left the boat and their father and went with Jeshua. Jeshua went all over the Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing people from every kind of disease and sickness. Word of him spread throughout all of Syria, and people brought to him all who were ill, suffering from various diseases and pains, and those held in the power of demons, and epileptics and paralytics, and he healed them all. Huge crowds followed him from the Galilee, the 10 towns, Jerusalem, Judah, and ever Hajarden. And now if we can please turn to Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26. May Adonai bless you and keep you. May Adonai make his face shine on you and show you his favor, and may Adonai lift up his face toward you and give you his shalom. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you come back again. I'll see you real soon. Shalom.